Hello, Danketeers, and welcome to the first episode of the Dan Marr Show. Now, I've done away with all that tedious question answering and facts to bring you more of what you want to see, namely 17 blisteringly tight hours of light entertainment, comedy, and singing, starring me, Dan Marr.
Dan.
Hey, sorry, mate. That was the trains. Have you started already?
Yeah, you're here. You went in for a week. I assumed you'd quit or died or something.
I was in Japan for Tokyo Game Show.
I was there.
No, you weren't there. That's the whole point. Anyway, you must have known where I was. You published the videos I made.
So, you still work here is basically what you're saying?
Yes.
So, we're going to be doing the whole answering questions thing again then?
Yeah, why? What did you have?
Nothing!
What was that?
Nothing. Nothing. Look, let's just start answering questions, shall we?
Okay, so first up, Shadow Reaver kind of ruins the whole invisible, anonymous Shadow Warrior part of being a ninja by writing to us and boasting about how he is a ninja. But his question about Ninja Gaiden 3 is a valid one, and we're not one to disappoint people just because they can't do their jobs properly.
No, indeed. Now, those of you with long memories might recall that there's already a Ninja Gaiden 3, namely 1991's rather excellently subtitled Ninja Gaiden 3, The Ancient Ship of Doom on the NES. However, Tecmo Koei are currently pretending that doesn't exist, so the game Shadow Reaver's probably referring to is the one coming out at the beginning of next year.
Does it feature any ancient ships of doom?
That is as yet unconfirmed, unfortunately.
Pity. Now, Ninja Gaiden 3 is the first game in the series not to be directed by Tomonobu Itagaki, who is too busy concentrating on his new game Devil's Third, as well as his new career of being a playable character in the upcoming Saints Row the Third. Instead, the project is being led by the designer of the Ninja Gaiden Sigma remake series, Yosuke Hayashi.
Now, you still play as Ryu Hayabusa, only he now has an evil right arm and apparently freelances for something called the Japanese Self-Defense Force, who send him around the world to fight terrorists in exciting and sexy ways.
Ninja Gaiden has always been a series known for its violence and gore, and interestingly, this time around, Tecmo Koei has simultaneously toned it down and made it much, much worse. Dismemberments and decapitations no longer feature, but you certainly feel the consequences of your sword strikes more. Stricken enemies crawl around on the floor, slowly bleeding out, and everything seems a lot grislier and more realistic than the almost cartoon violence of previous Ninja Gaiden games. Enemy henchmen will also beg for mercy, giving you the choice of whether to finish them off or let them live to hench another day.
Hayabusa has some new moves now, including the kunai climb, which lets him climb walls using the left and right triggers, and a slide move which can be used in combat, but also to slide under obstacles during quick-time events. He can also fly because ninjas can do that, apparently.
Ryu's glowing right arm is caused by a curse he has been placed under due to the astonishing number of people he's killed. This being the kind of curse that rewards you for doing the thing you were cursed for in the first place, however, killing enemies will imbue your cursed arm with power, which can be unleashed in an extremely powerful attack.
And if smashing everyone up with your cursed arm still isn't enough for you, making a return to the series is Ninpo, or Ninja Magic, which allows Ryu to summon a fiery dragon to deal out spectacular damage to anyone within scorching distance.
The level that
You mean we?
leave it, saw at Tokyo Game Show was set in London, with Ryu jumping off the clock tower of St. Stephen's.
Big Ben.
Big Ben is the name of the bell, not the clock tower.
Ah, such a nerd.
And then battling his way along the rooftops of the South Bank, making his way past the London Eye, and then into the war-torn streets around the Houses of Parliament. Basically tracing the route of the Jubilee tube line, or I suppose that might not be intentional.
No, I doubt it. Well, it is the ninja-iest of all tube lines, though. Anyway, the other major features shown off so far are some tweaks to the difficulty level. Ninja Gaiden games are well known for their brutal difficulty level, so Tecmo has decided to divide the game into two modes. There's Hero mode, where you auto-block, take less damage, and deal more in return, and then there's Ninja mode, which is split into normal and higher varieties of no doubt acutely frustrating insta-death.
Added to that, in a first for the series, there'll also be competitive multiplayer team battles for up to 8 players, as well as separate co-op missions for you to undertake with a friend. More details on the multiplayer are promised in the coming months, so keep an eye out, and the game is set for Q1 2012, so look for it early next year. Of course, you probably won't see it approaching, what with it being a ninja game and all, it'll probably just show up in your game collection with a bang and a cloud of mysterious smoke.
That's exactly how the Hannah Montana game showed up in my house.
So you keep saying.
Graham-Smith 1990 foolishly opts to squander his 140 character limit on no less than 3 exclamation marks in his attempts to twask us about Max Payne 3's release date.
Twask. Oh, okay, tweet and ask.
No, I have a speech impediment. I don't like to talk about it.
But ask doesn't even start with a T.
No, I don't fully understand it either.
That's not a real thing. Right, since we featured Max Payne 3 a couple of episodes back, Rockstar finally saw fit to release a trailer and confirm a release window of March 2012 in North America and Europe. The trailer confirms everything we already knew, namely that the bulk of the action takes place in Brazil, specifically Sao Paulo. Max has fallen on tough times.
Yeah, you can tell because he drinks straight from the bottle rather than using a glass. Oh, his mum would be furious.
Right, and the game features the sort of gunplay that would get the young John Woo all hot and bothered.
However, what the trailer doesn't reveal is that Rockstar has confirmed a multiplayer mode that appears to build on the hugely popular online experiences featured in GTA 4 and Red Dead Redemption. Details are scant, but it's promised that all of the staples you'd expect from a multiplayer shooter are present, such as player leveling, unlocks and customizable loadouts, as well as some twists on the formula such as maps and game modes that can change on the fly mid-match. Rockstar
isn't averse to releasing a string of tantalising trailers, so expect them to drip feed us with new info over the next 6 months? Really? Man. Well, two things that you won't have to wait 6 months for are the Battlefield 3 beta and the Forza 4 demo.
Flawless segue.
Thank you, I've been practicing.
Yes, so putting an answer to one of our most popular questions, DICE has confirmed that the Battlefield 3 beta is set to begin on Thursday, 29th of September, or Tuesday, 27th, if you bought the special edition of Medal of Honor.
Participants will have access to the Parisian map Operation Metro, where they'll be able to play series mainstay Rush mode, which sees one side attacking a pair of military communication stations while the other defends. They'll also be able to get to grips with Battlelog, DICE's free Battlefield-focused social network that lets players socialise, track stats and plan their next game.
For more info and to sign up to the beta, head to the URL on screen right now.
And for those asking about a Forza 4 demo, the good news is there is one, and it's coming on the 3rd of October.
However, that's as far as details for that one go, but we're going to go out on a limb and say that it'll probably involve driving a car in some capacity.
It's a bold statement.
Yeah, I'm the UK's answer to Michael Pachter.
The Boyvie decided he'd butter us up with a little praise before diving straight in with his question about Dark Souls multiplayer. You should all learn from his example. What was that?
What was nothing? What? Shut up. Anyway, we grabbed an interview for Dark Souls in Tokyo, didn't we?
I did, as we've established, you weren't there.
No. As we all know, I was there. There you are, irrefutable evidence of my being there.
That's poor, even for you. OK, so I was actually there, like really there, and paid a visit to Namco Bandai's incredible HQ to get the lowdown on Dark Souls' unorthodox take on online play.
So in terms of the online system, as you know, or people who have played Demon's Souls, the online system is very indirect. It's not a game where you can deliberately cooperate with other players. We've really found a really unique type of online system. But again, as you mentioned, you are able to leave messages. You will be able to see how other players have died in other worlds that they're playing in. So we have maintained and sort of amplified the online features for the game. What's sort of unique about this game itself is that you are able to sort of share the experience with other players that are playing in the same world. When players come to a similar place, similar location, and carry out similar actions, you will be able to sort of influence each other's worlds to a certain extent. And so that we have added as a new aspect of the online. So again, we often call it sharing the experience, but it will hopefully give a closer relationship even though you're in sort of an indirect online experience.
TreyGuard82 has taken time out of his busy schedule of watching children fall to their deaths in an unconvincing CGI dungeon to ask about the new Syndicate game.
Never pick the gold bar, you greedy idiots. It's a trap. So, first, a quick history lesson. Syndicate originally appeared on the Amiga and PC in 1993 and was an isometric combat and tactics game from Bullfrog Productions, the company founded by hip young blade Peter Molyneux, who later went on to become Peter Molyneux. Set in a very Blade Runner-y dystopian future, Syndicate focused on a world where big corporations ruled everything.
Yeah, imagine that.
Don't do that.
Sorry. You control a team of 4 agents, cyborgs who work for the Eurocorp Corporation, who undertook a series of corporate espionage missions like assassinating executives or recruiting top scientists using a mind control device called a Persuadertron, trying to turn Eurocorp into the biggest syndicate in the world. There was a tactical element too, in that you had to tax areas of the city under your control to raise money to develop new technologies through research.
There was also a sequel in 1996 called Syndicate Wars that continued the themes of the first game while adding new features, including, most importantly, the ability to rotate the isometric viewpoint. Hey, it was a big deal in 1996.
Well, now it's been announced that Starbreeze, the development studio behind Chronicles of Riddick games, Escape from Butcher Bay and Assault on Dark Athena, as well as The Darkness, is working on a brand new Syndicate game simply called Syndicate.
Again, with naming sequels the same as already existing games, they should have called it Syndicate 3 The Ancient Ship of Doom.
For once, I agree with you. Continuing the trend started Inspired by the XCOM reboot, Syndicate is ditching the isometric tactical approach of the previous Syndicate games, opting instead for a first-person shooter approach.
However, the story is pure Syndicate. You play as Miles Kilo, Eurocorp agent who must protect Eurocorp's interests and increase their influence through clandestine and often bloody corporate warfare.
In Syndicate's world, everything is connected through the products made by the corporations, and agents are in a unique position where they can use the chips they're implanted with to manipulate many aspects of the world they inhabit, giving them the ability to slow down time and hack things around them to control their environment. They can also shoot people with guns, which will change them from being alive people into dead people.
Innovative. It's also been confirmed that the game will feature a 4-player co-op mode, which will let you play missions from the original game from this new perspective.
EA Partners executive producer Jeff Garman had this to say. Our goal with Syndicate is to provide a challenging action shooter for today's gamers as well as fans of the original. I'm sure they will enjoy and recognise the legacy that made it such a classic. Fans of the franchise will recognise many weapons and environments in the game, but in a whole new way. Syndicate's currently down for an early 2012 release, but I'm sure we could be persuaded to see more of it before then. Fine, suit yourself.
Stevensky-chan can lay claim to have sent you a message first. He sent us a question that features no spelling errors and is grammatically and syntactically perfect. For his services to English, we're going to do an answer for his question around Guardian Heroes and Xbox Live Arcade and when it gone come in shops.
I've been wondering about that, actually, myself.
Yeah, it's been a great year for fans of legendary Japanese studio treasure, what with Radiant Silvergun and Bangai-O HD Missile Fury already gracing Xbox Live Arcade, and now we have yet another example of the team's ability to turn conventional genres in their stupid heads with Guardian Heroes.
First released on Sega's posthumously adored Saturn console, it bears all the hallmarks of a scrolling beat-em-up that throws in RPG-style experience accumulation, branching paths, multiple endings, and even one of the earliest examples of a morality system in the form of the karma meter.
The XBLA version receives the customary HD overhaul, although you can opt to revert to the original visuals for authenticity's sake, and it introduces 12-player versus combat over live, which, if the original 6-player mode is anything to go by, should be utter chaos.
But when ain't it going to come in shops?
Well, it's not going to come in shops. It's going to come in Game Marketplace for 12th October at price 800 Microsoft points. Up next, Quinton Vickers is feeling punchy and wants to know more about Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
So, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, as we can tell from the title, is an upcoming fighting game that pits the rosters of the Street Fighter and Tekken games against each other to finally settle the old playground arguments about which one is best. There is a reason as to why this is all happening. It's to do with something called the Pandora Box, a mysterious artifact that loves fighting and reckons it will see some brilliant scraps if it brings the Street Fighter and Tekken characters together. So it does. And that's the whole plot.
Excellent. What you need to know so far is that 26 characters are currently announced, 13 from each side. Representing Street Fighter are Ryu and Ken, obviously, as well as Abel, Chun-Li, Guile, Sagat, Dalsim, Ibuki, Hugo and Poison, Kami, Zangief and Relento.
While the Iron Fist tournament is represented so far by Heihachi, Kazuya, Lily, Bob, King, Marduk, Nina, Julia, Hwoarang, Steve, Fox, Yoshimitsu, Raven and Kuma, who's a bear.
Yes, fights take the form of tag team battles with you picking 2 characters that you can switch between on the fly. Tekken characters will apparently be controllable by the traditional Tekken 4-button method as well as by more Street Fighter-friendly 6-button controls. Instead of an EX or super meter, you have something called the cross gauge that allows you to perform tag attacks like launching your opponent skywards as you switch characters, controlling both characters simultaneously, or even chaining your 2 characters' super combos together to truly devastate your opponent's energy bar. You can also play proper 4-player 2-on-2 tag battles as well as have all 4 characters on screen at once in what Capcom's calling Scramble Mode.
Also announced is a new mechanic called Pandora Mode. Once one of your characters has less than a quarter of their health left, you can hit a button which will instantly kill them, but leave your remaining character with an infinite cross gauge for 8 seconds. Then they die.
Yep, a risky tactic, but one that could pay off if you're insane enough to use it. Having played some of the game recently and as a massive fan of both series, it's looking like Street Fighter Cross Tekken really is the best of both worlds, combining elements of both games into one seamless package that should please fans regardless of their loyalties. You can decide for yourself when the game hits shop shelves in March.
That's assuming that Street Fighter producer Yoshinori Ono and Tekken director Katsuhiro Harada haven't killed each other by then.
Oh, those rascals.
So that's it for this week's show, but remember, your questions are the targeting layers that allows us to successfully deploy the Hammer of Dawn of Knowledge. So keep them coming in to the gamertag Sent You a Message.
Send us a fun e-card at sentyouamessage@hotmail.com.
Microblog isn't a word at Sent You a Message.
Or like our pokes at facebook.com/sentyouamessage.
What's all this?
Fire alarm?